Hi, guys, welcome back. Today's YouTuber that we're going to visit is Elizabeth, and the name of her video is What I've Learned 9 Years Post Weight Loss Surgery. But I'm going to give it a different name. The name I'm going to go with is Am I Happier After Losing Weight? I think you're going to really like this video.
Am I happier than I was before? Yes. But all those things that I thought were related to my weight aren't. They're related to me. They're related to, I used to always sort of make fun of when people would talk about like trauma response or triggering or things like that. But it's the real deal. It's the real deal. And a lot of the barriers that I built up to other people in my life that I used to, weight was sort of a physical manifestation of those barriers and keeping people away. I still have them, and it's still a battle, and I need to go back to therapy and all the things. One of the things that I used to say is the reason that I was having weight loss surgery was because my son was getting ready to leave the house, and I was afraid I was going to turn into a crazy cat lady. Well, it's 9 years later. There have been ebbs and flows during, of my social life during that time. And COVID just like sort of broke everybody, I think, a little bit. But, I'm sort of realizing, am I, getting back on that road to being a crazy cat lady? Not a crazy cat lady, but sort of my instinct is to isolate. And COVID sort of made that okay. And it's been hard to get back in the vibe after that. So I think I'm going to be pursuing therapy again soon.
Do you guys agree with Elizabeth? COVID did kind of put us in a situation where we all isolated, we all got used to working from home, right? And then when it comes time to being back in the office or back in a social type atmosphere, it can be a little challenging for people. We get used to, dressing in our underwear and pajamas all day.
Yeah, I'm still me. Losing all the weight didn't magically make everything better. It made a lot of things better. The third thing that I think I've learned 9 years out is that I'm worthy. And how that relates to weight loss surgery is not that I feel like I'm worthy because my body has changed and I'm not 400 pounds and I can walk and walk and walk and I can do all the things that I never thought I could do. The thing about weight loss surgery that made me realize that is the friendships that I've made. Because I was so isolated before, I didn't have a lot of people reflecting back to me who I was or how they saw me. I did not have deep friendships. I really was left alone with the negative thoughts in my mind with nothing to sort of interrupt those. And through weight loss surgery, I gained friends at a level that I would not have imagined me having at this point in my life.
So let's think about that. She brings up an excellent point. When you lose a little weight, when you become part of a group, right? For example, the Venters, every morning we get together, we say, hey, make today that day when you take your first steps and go on a walk, and we do it together. A lot of times, if you take your weakness, which in this case, it sounds like Elizabeth's weakness was isolation because of her weight, right? And if all of a sudden you can use that as a strength, like, hey, if I can join a group with like-minded people that are going through the same situation, you might just be a couple clicks away from meeting your next best friend.
I mean, there are, a handful of people that I talk to every single day. And I have talked to every single day. And I can back that up with evidence because a lot of those conversations, most of those conversations are on Marco Polo. But it was through those relationships that I began to see who I was outside of the negative voices in my head. So I think those are the top three things I've learned post weight loss surgery. I would do it again in a heartbeat. It's 9 years, 175 pounds, weight loss maintained, probably 20 different hairstyles, hundreds of planks in different places, probably 30 at a point when I had weight loss surgery, I really felt like I wasn't ever going to travel again, even within the United States, if it wasn't in a car, because I had a very bad experience on one of my last flights before weight loss surgery with someone asking to be moved from the seat next to me because of my weight. And I didn't think I would ever fly again. I have probably gone on 30 or 40 trips in the last 9 years. I have been to 5 different countries. I have, built this tribe of incredible people. So I would not change it for anything in the world. But I just wanted to come back in because so many people say when they want to negate the impact of weight loss surgery that you're just going to gain it back. And that was one of the things that I feared. And that was one of the excuses I used when my parents would say, why aren't you having weight loss surgery? And because, everybody just gains it back. Or, the complications could be horrendous. And I know the reality now, which is that you don't have to gain it all back. And then it really was a new sort of lease on life for me. And there are, countless things I've done in the last 9 years that I would not have ever imagined happening for me.
I think we can all agree if you go from 400 pounds to closer to 200, you're going to be able to be a lot more mobile, a lot more active. That's going to lead to situations where you can meet a lot more people that potentially become a friend or a significant other or even a coworker, right? A lot of doors can open if you're willing to start walking through those doorways, right? I think that it's wonderful that she's still at a weight where she can still potentially lose some more. I hope that Elizabeth watches this video and maybe thinks about walking with us.
So wouldn't trade it for the world. Just wanted to pop in and say hello. Let me know what things you've learned, because I know many of the people who watch me and subscribe to me, if anybody still subscribes to me, because I don't ever make videos, that y'all have been in this journey for a while as well. So I would love to hear what are the things you've learned.
So, she said something interesting there. A lot of times YouTubers that are doing fitness channels or, watch me lose weight channels, they end up kind of losing steam and they stop uploading or they go a long time between uploads. I'm trying my darndest to do uploads every day because I walk every day and I want you to be a part of that every day. I think it'll change your life. Just walk with me, walk with the Venters, and become one of us, the Venters, okay? With that being said, she also mentioned something earlier. When the person did that thing with her where he or she didn't want to sit next to her in the airplane or whatever that situation was, those are things that can come across as real insensitive to people. Do you have a right to change your seat? Sure. But make sure you do it for a good reason. If you do it just to be kind of cruel or mean, nothing good comes of it. There's no need to be the cruelest that you can be. Try some compassion, okay? Here's something compassion for all of us. Go get your shoes. Let's go for a walk. Good morning, Venters. Did you guys hear? I guess last night at 11 o'clock, I don't know if it was Eastern or Central time, wherever Alabama is, apparently there was 4 people shot that lost their lives, and then another couple of dozen. I say couple of dozen because it was kind of vague on the report I heard, but basically dozens more were hurt. And they're in the hospital, some with potentially life-ending injuries, right? And it just really got to me because I don't think in my life, and I'm sure shootings have happened in Birmingham, Alabama, but that's one of those cities that I haven't really heard about too many situations over my lifetime. So this one was kind of shocking. We're used to hearing about stuff in Chicago, Philadelphia, San Francisco, New York City, right? And some other places around the country. But I just don't recall hearing about Birmingham, Alabama too much. Whenever you have a situation where somebody comes out and injures that many people, that is shocking. That's what I consider a mass shooting to be. The reason I say that is over the last couple of years, we've had situations where every time somebody hurts more than 2 people, they like to call it a mass shooting, or it seems like they do. But either way, it kind of makes you wonder,
What's wrong with us here in America? Now, I know around the world people say, oh my God, you guys have too many guns. It's not a problem with the guns, in my opinion. In my opinion, it's a problem with the bad people that get a hold of guns, right? Because bad people are going to do what they want. But it just kind of makes you wonder, are we just destined to have a world where we're just always going to have these bad things happen? And I guess we have to throw our hands up in the air on this, because apparently there is no solving this problem. These problems tend to get worse and worse rather than better and better. But again, at least we can pray, and hopefully your family members have nothing to do with this situation, and hopefully no one in your family has been injured. I don't even know if we have a venter in Alabama, but if we do, let us know. Today is Sunday for me, so it's Monday for you guys. I hope you guys are having a good start to your week. I want you guys to know that this could be the very first Monday where you make a choice. I'm gonna walk in the morning, and then when lunch rolls around, I'm gonna eat my lunch, and then I'm gonna get going and I'm gonna take a little walk at work. I'm telling you guys, if you do that, and if you can just use your imagination, and if you had been doing that even for just since the beginning of this year, you probably would be down another 5, 6, 7 pounds. 5, 6, 7 pounds here, 3 or 4 pounds down from your walk, 2 or 3 pounds down because you've given up sweet drinks for water. These things have an add to effect. They add to what you're doing, and they make it that much more effectual when it comes to losing weight. So again, when you guys are thinking about adding a little 10-minute walk here, don't poo-poo it. In and of itself, that 10 or 15-minute walk does nothing. But when you add it to your half-hour walk before work, when you add it to the idea that at lunch you're gonna ditch that French fry and ditch that soda for water, and maybe you could bring a bag of carrots or something so that you still have something that gets you full, but without such horrible empty calories like we partake in when we drink that large thirst buster. You got to remember, when I tell you there's 150 calories in a Coca-Cola, I'm talking about a little 12-ounce can. When you guys have that 32 or 36-ounce drink from Burger King or McDonald's, and then at the end of your time there, you refill it. Guys, that's the reason that a lot of us are overweight. And by the way, it's not like I'm perfect on this. When I used to go to lunch every day at work, I would get a orange high C, or I would get a sweet tea. Is that as many calories as soda? Probably close, probably a couple calories less. So it's a great way to step down. You know, you want to go from Coca-Cola to sweet tea, and then slightly less sweet, and then water. It's a great way to step down, but it's not a solution. So if your solution is, I'm going to give up soda for sweet tea, you're not really jumping down as much as you would think, because let's be honest, sweet tea is pretty sweet. The other comment that I got this morning was from Sean. Sean, you were asking, Jesse, what type of stuff do you eat from lunch? Remember, my first tip, Sean, is let's add to our plan through subtraction, right? And what we want to do is we want to kind of take a look at what you're currently eating. And I know you're probably not eating this, but a lot of people at their lunch break are going to whatever fast food place they can, and they're getting a chicken sandwich one day, and they're getting a hot dog the next, and they're getting Taco Bell the following day, right? Oh, and Tuesday is Taco Tuesday at Del Taco, right? So we have all these places that we go to get a meal deal, but we're eating ourselves to death, you know? So again, my first tip is to add to your plan by subtracting. So, you know, you want to get that Whopper meal? Fine, get that Whopper meal. Contemplate the idea of eating it with a fork. Take off that top bun so you still have the one on the bottom, and eat your sandwich that way. Contemplate getting a small French fry instead of a large. Contemplate getting a small soda instead of a large. And then what you want to do is you want to baby step that. So contemplate getting rid of that small soda the following week for maybe a small sweet tea, and then a less sweet tea. And then let's see if in a month from now, we can get you to the point where you're just drinking water with your lunch. Now, does that mean that you always have to drink water with every lunch for the rest of your life? No. How about this? Whenever you decide to go to lunch, not by yourself, but with a coworker, maybe at that time you can make that the special lunch that you drink a Coke. But here's the thing. If you and the coworker start going to lunch every day, if that becomes an everyday tradition, well, guess what? You have to recalculate your plan and say, well, shit, I can't just call it a special occasion every day and drink soda. So you have to make a plan. So the first one is, let's subtract some of the bad stuff from that lunch. Now, let's talk about substituting. I am a huge fan of celery sticks. I am a huge fan of carrot sticks. Why? Because when I was younger, me and my friends would go to this place called Native New Yorker, and we would eat wings, right? They would have dozen wings for $3.99 or whatever the special was, never-ending wings, right? In addition to the wings, they would bring out a little ranch, some carrot sticks, some celery sticks. So I learned to love those type of vegetables. Well, when you go to the store and you go into the vegetable area, usually it's by the deli. When you're in the deli, try to avoid the boar's head meats. I'm never eating boar's head again. God, that's so gross. If you guys haven't heard about boar's head, Google it. They went to their place where they cut up our boar's head meats for our deli meats. Very, very disgusting situation with flies and stuff. You just don't want to eat boar's head meats ever again. I'm never trusting them again with my lunch. But what you can do in that vegetable section, guys, is you can go and you can get yourself a thing of baby carrots. You can get yourself some pea pods. What are they? Snap peas, excuse me. You can get yourself some celery. And if you're willing to buy a bag of carrots, you can cut up your own carrots for even less money. So we're talking, these things are very inexpensive. And then you simply get a bag of Ziplocs and you simply take some carrots and celery and maybe a tiny bit of ranch with you to work. Now when you go for your chicken sandwich, you can take a bottle of water, you can skip the fries, and now you can have with your burger or with your chicken sandwich or with your fish sandwich, right? Now you can have some carrots and some celery sticks. It gives you that crunch. It gives you that something extra, just like French fries would, right? And now instead of your soda, you're drinking some nice water. Take a little squeeze of lemon, put some lemon juice in there. Where I live, where I go to the grocery stores, they have these little things. They look like plastic lemons or plastic limes. And they're just straight up lemon juice that you can squeeze into your water. I'm sure we've all seen those things at stores before. A lot of times you can make your water more appealing by putting a twist of lime in there or putting a little lemon squirt in there, right? And again, you don't have to make water your 24/7 drink. Just obey the 2/3 rule, right? So even if you want to have a soda, have a soda. But don't have 5 sodas. Don't have 6 sodas. Remember, a soda really is a reward or a treat, but it's not a good reward and it's not a good treat, right? Anything that's going to break down your teeth when you head into your 40s, 50s, and 60s, that's when we do start losing our teeth. You want to keep yours as long as you possibly can. So Sean, to answer your question, a lot of times at lunch, because I'm a bachelor, a lot of times I'll have a Michelina's frozen meal or something like that. Sometimes I'll throw some cheese on a tortilla and I'll have a cheese crisp. I think the important thing is, because not all of us have the most nutritious lunch, is that you at least consider some of those healthier options. Now let's talk about dinner real quick, because dinner's in that same vein. I think a lot of times we eat a reasonable dinner. You know, maybe we have some mashed potatoes and some corn and some green beans, and maybe we have some baked chicken. You know, that's a typical dinner that we have here. The problem is, and I'm sure you guys have seen this, what happens when we finish our meal? Our husband or our wife says, hey honey, there's still an extra piece of chicken here and there's some mashed potatoes left. Do you want this or should I give it to the dog? No, don't give it to Fido. I'll eat it. And before you know it, you've eaten a second meal. I say, hell no, let's give it to Fido. That'll make Fido love you a little bit more, and it could save your life. And then afterwards, you and Fido go out that door and go for a walk together. Okay, so let's think about dinner. With dinner, if we resolve that we're not going to have seconds, we're going to have one dinner. And we resolve that we're going to try to cut out that midnight snack after, or we're going to try to cut out that dessert after. Jesse, I don't want to get rid of dessert. I love dessert. Bob, we all love dessert. How about this, buddy? How about there's 7 days a week? How about you have dessert once or twice out of the week, just till you get used to having dessert less? A lot of us have had dessert every day for our lives, believe it or not. And I know that sounds goofy, but a lot of us have. Some of you guys have a box of Oreo cookies in your cupboard as I speak, and every day you like to get 2 or 3 of them. If you only had 2 or 3 Oreos every day as a treat, I don't think you would have any weight issues at all. The problem with me is when I have 2 or 3 Oreos, come at me a half hour later and you'll find out that 2 or 3 became 10 or 12. And I think we can all agree if you eat 10 or 12 Oreos every night, you're never going to lose weight. And remember, there's something addictive about the chemicals in these foods, so that eating 1 or 2 potato chips or eating 1 or 2 cookies is damn near impossible. Good morning. So what you want to do is you want to do these baby steps. Let's stop by getting rid of the Coke and let's have water with our dinner. And if you can't do that every day, let's make a goal to do that half the time. Because if we can cut your consumption in half this month, maybe we can try to cut it down to a fourth next month. And then in the 3rd month, if you can visualize, maybe we could totally eliminate that. Now remember, here's the cool thing with a 90-day challenge. We go from one challenge into another. So if you want to totally eliminate Coke for 90 days, lose some weight so that you have your body under more control, then what we could do is we could re-add Coke back into our lives after day 90. Not because we're going to become a permanent Coke drinker again, but what we could do is we could actually do a predictive yo-yo diet. Jesse, yo-yo dieting is the worst thing you can do. It's the worst thing you can do when you don't have any control over what you're doing. But if you want to try to slowly see if you can handle 2 or 3 Oreos, you can do it. Here's what's going to happen. For the first couple days, you're going to handle 2 or 3 Oreos. And then by week 2 or 3, you're going to start reverting back to eating 6 to 10 Oreos or 2 to 3 scoops of ice cream or 3 or 4 donuts. So the key is we have to get used to the point where we can take it or leave it. Right now, you don't have the strength to take it or leave it because right now it's the reason that we're walking together, because everybody loves sweets. But if you can get to the point where you're 90 days away from it, and then you can see if you can slowly but surely add a little bit, I think that's a good thing, because then what we could do is we could catch ourselves, and in the next 90-day challenge, we could slowly but surely get rid of that sugar again. Remember, what happens now is everybody quits cold turkey, and then 2 or 3 months into it, they end up getting back into eating junk food. They end up regaining the weight and then some. That's not going to happen to us. Why? Because we walk every day. We are literally a little calorie clicker, and every single 5 or 10 minutes, we are clicking an additional 20 or 30 calories or whatever the heck the number is, right? And that's what we do every single day. If you take a half-hour walk with me and we kill during that half hour about 150 calories, well, guys, that means that every single week we are killing over 1,000 calories. That is huge. That's 4,000 calories every month that we are subtracting from the total. And if we can meet that action by getting rid of some of those sodas and those desserts, then all of a sudden we are losing tens of thousands of calories a month. If you quit 10,000 calories a month out of your diet, you're not going to be able to help but lose weight. And it's not going to be insignificant weight, guys. You're going to lose a lot of weight. But you have to be able to trick your mind into believing that it's something that's very doable, it's very repeatable, and it's mathematically just going to happen whether you like it or not. So what would be the ideal dinner? Well, one of the things that I like snacking with, Sean, is a pre-made salad. Where I go to Fry's for my dinner, or for my food, I should say, they have a pre-made package of iceberg lettuce, which basically has very few calories. They tell you that you can have it with 2 tablespoons of salad dressing or whatever. My thinking is put your salad dressing on, but don't put a mound of salad dressing on. If you're eating a salad and some carrot sticks and some celery sticks as your little snacks throughout the day, my God, you're going to be losing weight like crazy. Sean, remember in your case, you want those abs to show? One of the best ways to get those abs to show is to quit the sugar. And even if you love having your occasional treat with your wife, see if you can just quit the sugar for 3 or 4 weeks to see if we can get those abs to show. And you know, sometimes people say they want to see their abs and then you find out they already have them. Sean, if you already have your abs, good for you. Take a picture, we'll share it with everybody. But if you're not quite there, try to cut out that sugar. Try to get rid of it. Some of you guys are going to disagree with what I say and you're going to say, Jesse, I just got rid of the damn sugar. I'm not going to add it back to my diet. If that's your thinking, I'm so proud of you. You're doing really good. You got to remember, people that are new don't want to hear that I'm taking away their sugar forever. They barely want to hear that I'm going to make them walk forever, right? So I don't want to take away people's sugar. And the reality is, one day your son or your daughter or your best friend is going to make you cupcakes for your birthday. One day you're going to go visit your grandchildren and you're going to want to teach them how to make a cake or how to make grandma's famous cookies that you've learned through the generations of women in your family, right? These things happen. Someday grandpa's going to want to have some Captain Crunch with their kids. Hey, good morning. So you want to get to the point where you can do these things without having to, destroy your diet, or you can do these things without saying, hey, I'm going to have a bowl of Cheerios. You want to be you want to be able to enjoy your time with your kids, and one of the best things you can do is take the kids out on a hot day for an ice cream cone. By the way, if you ask people my age or slightly older, but not slightly older, or older, maybe slightly younger, what's your memories of your favorite ice cream place? A lot of people think Cold Stone, Baskin Robbins, Dairy Queen, Culver's, Freddy's, but that's wrong. The ice cream that we all love and grew up with was Thrifty ice cream. You guys remember Thrifty? Now tell me, wouldn't you love taking your grandson or granddaughter out for a double scoop of Thrifty ice cream? Oh my God. I can still see that weird concoction they had where it would take a cylinder-shaped scoop out of the ice cream bin and they would put it on your cone. Do you guys remember how good and how much we loved Thrifty ice cream? Oh my God. I can practically taste it now. So remember, the reason that our diet makes sense is because it's the easiest one. You're allowed to occasionally, good morning, you're allowed to occasionally have ice cream. You're allowed to occasionally have a candy bar or a Coke. You don't want to tell people, I've given up sugar, I've given up laziness, I'm walking every day, I'm not, when you tell people this, they're going to catch you with a candy bar and they're going to assume that you quit. Just don't tell people about your diet. Just do it. Remember, talk is cheap. Actions speak louder than words. So get out there, slowly but surely, get rid of the candy, use Kaizen for everything. If all else fails, ask yourself, what would I do if I wanted to baby step in one direction or the other? Okay, if you want to baby step off soda, you're going to try to switch it up. If you're going to baby step, you're walking upward, you're going to try to think of special times where you can add an extra walk in. It's these little moves that make somebody a successful medium to thin sized person. It's you telling yourself, I don't want to do that shit. That's what heavy people say. So again, even if there's a piece of you that says, I'm not doing that goofy stuff, that's the heavy mentality. A person that really wants to lose weight will go get a bag of carrot sticks and learn to find different snacking options. So check this out. Instead of Doritos, we have popcorn. Instead of Fritos, or instead of chocolate chip cookies, we have snap peas and carrot sticks and celery sticks. Instead of potato salad, we have an iceberg lettuce salad with a little Italian dressing or a little oil and vinegar, whatever the case might be. Instead of a Whopper or a Subway footlong, maybe we have a 6-inch and maybe we take off one of the buns on the Whopper and maybe we go with the small fry. Here's the problem with the small fry and the small soda. It's still an addictive meal that's not really helping your cause. So I don't want you to throw your hands up in the air and say, F it! Damn it, Jesse, F it! Have your small soda. But remember, that's a baby step. That's not a final step. The final step would be getting to the point where at least half the week you can just have water. And quit telling yourself that water sucks. If there was only one drink that you could have for the rest of your life, you would be silly if you didn't choose water. So take water. I'm surprised I had to change the battery because it really feels nice out, and in the shade it feels almost like 70 degrees. I love this weather. I love that you guys were so strong and walked with me all throughout summer. Guys, we got through that devil that we like to call summer. Holy moly, the devil is behind us. Now we can move forward and succeed. Some of you guys are thinking, well, wait a minute, Jesse, the devil is the cold that's coming up. Well, at least we can dress warm for the cold, right? You can't dress cold for the heat. Holy moly, there's no such thing as dressing cold. You could be naked out here and still get a sunburn. Holy moly. So again, guys, let's think about some fun alternatives. Instead of a steak, go with the chicken, okay? Instead of the chicken, maybe go with, I don't know, what's a nice protein we could have? Maybe something that's legume or bean related. I would say go have a bean burrito instead of a Whopper, but you don't want to necessarily rely on bean burritos either, because I'd be willing to bet that a Taco Bell bean burrito is probably just as bad as a Whopper, or at least close to it. And remember, where you eat one Whopper and you're done, you might have to eat 2 or 3 Taco Bell bean burritos. So you do want to switch it up every now and then. Try to make slow step downs. Remember, if you're always eating a horrible lunch and dinner, all you have to do is avoid seconds, avoid liquid calories, and it should be a win-win. But again, how about this? How about instead of spaghetti with meatballs, how about we have spaghetti and we just leave the meat out of it every now and then, right? How about instead of spaghetti, how about we have, how people can actually string their, those vegetables, not, what's the vegetables I'm thinking, where they can string it up and make it look like spaghetti, right? Squash. You could technically make squash noodles every now and then. Even though it looks like spaghetti, does it taste like spaghetti? No, not really at all. But it can fool you enough to believe that you're still eating something fun. And a lot of times when I have eaten these squash spaghettis, they're not too bad. I have a lot of friends that swear that they love to eat these pizzas where the crust is made out of crushed cauliflower. I don't even know how the hell our scientists came up with that shit, but either way, If you're able to eat a cauliflower pizza, by all means do it. Now remember, with a lot of these special foods, a lot of times they're way more expensive than they should be. So again, we don't want to make it where your diet makes you go broke. But I have a feeling if you ditch the soda for water, you're going to save money. And if you can get rid of having that large fry and that large drink and just have water and maybe some carrots from home, guys, that's a huge savings. Instead of $6 or $7 for the burger, you're paying $13 or $14 for the meal. Ditch that meal, take that $5 or $6 you save a day, put it in your gas tank. Take that extra savings and go shopping. Get yourself a nice new pair of walking shoes. There are things and you want to know what'll happen when you do that? You'll hit a little dopamine receptor in your brain. Why? Because everybody likes to go buy a brand new pair of shoes, right? And then you'll be rewarded because those shoes will make you want to take an extra long walk. That's going to make the scale go down. So it's like this really neat domino effect that happens when we just choose to try. Put your best foot forward. Is it easy? No. Is it impossible? Well, it feels impossible if you start jumping into things and quitting things cold turkey. Get used to doing baby steps. Get used to doing baby steps, and you can take over the world. You should Google or YouTube Kaizen, because most people don't use Kaizen to lose weight. The Japanese developed it kind of to make business more successful, and when they started using it, they found out that that's like the #1 way to improve at what you're doing professionally. Well, for the next 90 days, you're a professional dieter. This is something you want to really do the best that you can. So the best way to do it is ask yourself this: is there something I can do this week that'll propel me and put me in a better spot than what I was doing last week? And if I add these baby steps now for this week, what can I start to imagine for the following weeks? Because remember, we don't stop today. We want to get better tomorrow. So keep going, keep letting my words flood your ears. I know they're repetitive, but remember, that's the best way for the propaganda to hit your brain. You gotta hear this shit repeatedly. There is no magical move that I'm holding from you. It's all about walking and avoiding the bullshit that we put in our mouth. And by the way, if you're putting bullshit in your mouth, ew, I want you guys to have a wonderful day. I'll see you guys tomorrow.